Good evening, VC. Saturday night. It's time for the Yes Special, Part 2 of this Yes Special. And I want to thank everybody for joining me for this trip through the music of Yes. This is the second part, and then the third part will be their solo stuff. I'm not going to do the complete solo thing. It would take us up until the sun comes up. But I'm going to do some highlights on some of the albums I have, and some of the CDs and some of the DVDs that I have of Yes solo artists. I also got a couple of Caravan albums, and I'll be showing those at the end of the Yes show, second part. So we left off at Drama, and we were talking about Drama and how the Buggles joined them. And then they took a little break, and then they came back with this album, Going for the One. Now, Going for the One brought back Rick Wakeman to the band, and I believe the album was made in Switzerland. They all got together and made that record. And then after that, then they came out with Tormato. And Tormato this happens to be a promo with a time strip. Tormato came out, and then they toured Tormato and Yes Shows. Now, Yes Shows has Parallels, Time and a Word, Going for the One, The Gates of Delirium, Don't Kill the Whale, Ritual, and Wondrous Stories. And I saw this show in Hampton Coliseum in Virginia when I was in the Navy. One of the very first shows I've ever seen. It was an excellent show. Like I say, it was in the round. And I really enjoyed that show. And then after that, they took a break, and then they came out with 90125. Everybody knows this song by their, I believe it's their only #1 hit, Owner of a Lonely Heart. This had John Anderson, Chris Squire, Trevor Rabin, Alan White, and Tony Kaye. Enter Trevor Rabin. Trevor Rabin was, or is still is, he's from South Africa, and he was in a band called Rabbit. But I don't have any of his Rabbit albums, but I do have some of his solo work. This would have been 1983. What's next here? Then we go to 9012 Live, the solos. They came out with this. And this has a few songs from the tour. They each did an individual song during the, they had their little spotlight. This happens to be a Japanese press of this CD. This is from the live from the Edmonton, Canada. Showcases all their individual talents. Then they came out with Big Generator. Big Generator had a couple, had Rhythm of Love, Big Generator, Shoot Aim, High Aim Low, Love Will Find the Way, and a few other songs. Then comes, after Big Generator, they come out with, they all got together, Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman, and Howe, and they made an album. This was pretty popular. And here's the live. And here's another live. Anderson, Wakeman, Bruford, Howe. This was live at the NEC, October 24th, 1989. I didn't get to see that tour because I was in, from 87 to 90, I was in the Philippines. So I missed quite a bit of music during those years. And then, this being West Coast Yes, East Coast Yes and West Coast Yes got together. And they made an album, and the album is called Union. I believe Rick Wakeman calls it Onion. It had John Anderson, Bill Bruford, Steve Howe, Tony Kaye, Trevor Rabin, Chris Squire, Rick Wakeman, and Alan White. So it didn't. The only people who weren't on here would have been Mr. Peter Banks and Patrick Moraz, but they were all on this album, and this is available on video, and you can see Trevor Rabin on the stage with Steve Howe, both of them playing guitar. That'd be the last time that happened. And then they have Yes Reunion. Just some different cuts. And then they came out with Talk. I saw this show in Orlando. I can remember it well. And this album has a song on here called Walls, and it was written by Roger Hodgkin. And everybody knows where Roger Hodgkin, where he came from. He would come from Supertramp. But he wrote a song for this album. All right, so now we're up to 1993, 95. And then they did an album called The Symphonic Music of Yes. And this had London Philharmonic Orchestra, Steve Howe, Bill Bruford, John Anderson, and then the English Chamber Orchestra and London Community Gospel Choir. This is really cool. If you ever find this, give this a listen. This is pretty cool. And they do Roundabout, Close to the Edge, Wanderer's Story, Seen All Good People, Mood for a Day, Owner of a Lonely Heart, Survival, Heart of the Sunrise, Soon, and Starship Trooper. So they do a good-sized set. And then this album came out, Tales from Yesterday. And we're still around 95 here. This one had people from different groups doing Yes songs, like Robert Barry doing Roundabout, Steve Morse doing Mood for a Day, Andy Haslam, Turn of the Century, Patrick Moraz does a song, he does Soon, Peter Banks does a song, Astral Traveler, Steve Morse does The Clap. This is a really good one too. I haven't listened to these in quite a while. So now we're at 96, 97, and we have to talk about the keys to Ascension. The original lineup gets back together, and they do, well, not the original lineup, but the lineup with the classic lineup, they say. The John Anderson, Steve Howe, Chris Squire, Rick Wakeman, and Alan White, because White took over for Bruford. These have got some really great cuts on them. One is a live in the St. Louis Obispo, and then there's new tracks. And then the other one has a couple of new tracks on it too. They do the Mind Drive. If you ever get a chance to listen to it's on Keys of Ascension 2, and they did it at the 35th anniversary show. It was awesome. Okay, we're up to 97, and Billy Sherwood would arrive on the scene. He's a bass player. And they had John Anderson, Steve Howe, Billy Sherwood, Chris Squire, and Alan White on this. This is a really good album, underrated album. It's called Open Your Eyes. And this would have been Open Your Eyes. Yeah. Would have been around 97. This was Yes and Friends. This came out in 98. It's got lots of songs on here. It's got all the different songs that were made by different members of the band. All the members of the band, each had individual tracks. This was on, looks like Pyramid CDs. Okay, so now we're up to 1999. It's almost the year 2000. And Yes comes out with a very strong album that's out on vinyl, 180. It's called The Ladder. And The Ladder, it's got some really great songs on it. Lightning Strikes, and when I seen them on a tour that I'm going to talk about in a few minutes here, they did Lightning Strikes live in a lightning storm in St. Augustine at the amphitheater. And Steve Howe's guitar quit on them. And then they got to 2000, 2001, and they come out with Magnification. There's no keys on this record, no keyboards. So Rick Wakeman did not join them on this. And then when they toured, they had a keyboard, they had a full orchestra. I didn't see that tour either, but they had a full orchestra, and yeah, Tom Breslin played keys, I believe. Tom Breslin, he was also in Camel for a time. Where are we up to? Fly From Here. I don't have a copy of Fly From Here. That came out in 2011, and that's the show I seen in St. Augustine. And it was a real stormy night in Florida during the summer. What else do you really expect? And I lived there for over 30 years. They had, they were doing lightning strikes, and there was actually lightning around us. And then actually the stage went black, and Steve Howe's guitar stopped, and they just waited a second. The power came back on, and then they finished the show. But this is, that was David Benoit was the singer then when they made the album. Now, when they toured the album, they had changed to a man named John Davidson. His name's also Jon, just like Anderson. But this guy's John Davidson, and he comes from a band called Glass Hammer. Glass Hammer was like a Christian band, progressive rock band, but they did a lot of progressive rock, and they did some other. I wouldn't say metal, but more of a classical rock and progressive rock. They're a good band. Matter of fact, I heard a few of their albums with John Davidson before John Davidson went to Yes. And then they came out with the Return Trip. This is what the album really looks like, but instead of Return Trip, it just says Fly From Here. And some of these songs were written by Trevor Horn. During the time that they were in the band, back when we were talking about Drama. That's a long time ago. That's 20 years before this. They hung on to those songs, and then they used them on this album. That's really strong. This was a strong album. But they went ahead and they got Jeffrey Downs and Trevor Horn on this album to redo it a few years later after the album came out, because I guess they didn't like Benoit David's vocals, or there was some issue there. So they repackaged it, and then the Buggles, Trevor Horn and Jeffrey Downs, they come on to the album. Well, Jeffrey Downs was already in the band, but Trevor Horn redid the vocals on it, put it that way. So now we're up to 2014. Heaven and Earth comes out, and Heaven and Earth was one of the last times I got to see Yes, and I got to see them in Orlando. And Chris was the last time I saw Chris Squire before he passed away. And there's a song on, I don't have that album to show you, but it's called Heaven and Earth. And there's a great song on there. It's like one of the best songs on the album. It's called Subway Walls. If you could check it out with the bass, that bottom bass of Chris Squire's is just awesome. That was a good show. And their next album that's coming out is going to be October 1st of 2021. And it's going to be called The Quest. So it's still John Davidson, basically the Steve Howe band, but it's called Yes Official. And then John Anderson's been doing other things on his end, and then Bill Bruford is retired, and yeah, that's about it for that. I have another one here, the extended versions of some songs. Siberian Catrue, America Onward, Awaken, and Roundabout. That's all on here. That's nice to have. And then this is the show that I saw, 35th anniversary. I saw it with my nephew Peter over in Tampa. And I told that story the other day when the floor was ready for the Tampa Bay Lightning. It was set up for it because they were doing the playoffs. So John Anderson had a sweater on, and the floor had a mat over top of the ice. And then, like halfway through the show, my feet were they were freezing. I guess yeah, it wasn't. It was nice, and put it this way, it was really cool in there. So with that many people pre-epidemic, it was nice having a little bit of coolness in there. Like I say, John had a sweater on, so he was definitely chilled. Then we got some. Let's see here. What else we got? I'm going to show you some of these DVDs I have. First one here. Okay, here it is here. Here's Like It Is. This one here is from the Mesa Arts Center. Got that one. I got Like It Is at the Bristol Hyperdrome. Now these are all with John Davidson. This is all stuff they did their last three solo albums, last two solo albums. And here's the 35th anniversary show, the one I said I seen. Songs from the Songus. And that's actually filmed up, I think, in Connecticut at the Reservation Casino. Same show I saw. And I got, this is Anderson Waite and Bruford Howe in the Big Dream DVD. It's hard to get a glare on that. Here's Live at Montreux, 2003. Okay. The Symphonic Live, the one I was telling you about, the Magnification Tour. This is with the orchestra. Tom Breslin playing keyboards. Didn't play keyboards on the album, though. But they needed a keyboard player to go on the road so they could do Close to the Edge and all their classics. Here's the 50th anniversary show for Yes. John Anderson's Yes. ARW, they were called. They went on the road with Trevor Rabin and Rick Wakeman. I saw this show in Orlando with my daughter. I had like 20 rows from the stage. It was really cool. Just seeing John Anderson again, that's been the last time I seen him. And this was, what, a few years ago already. 2004 or 5 years ago. And these I showed the other day. All right, so that concludes that. That's the second part of the Yes Show. My daughter made this shirt. There's another one of her shirts she made for me. This is with a talk tour. Peter Max. I wish I had this when I saw the show live in Orlando. And I did get a couple of pickups this week. These came in the mail. Caravan for the girls who grow plump in the night, and it's a promo. Caravan, excellent band, Canterbury Prague. If you like Canterbury Prague, I did a video on it. I'm going to do a part 2 to that eventually. And here's the Caravan. And the new Symphony. October 28, 1973. So there's another, I was able to get a good deal on that one. So that way there, I was able to get that this week. I think that's all the pickups I had this week. And the ones I haven't shown. So I'm right at 20 minutes. And it's Saturday night. Y'all have a great weekend. And we'll be talking to you. I'll probably be off for about a week. But I will keep in touch and get back on here and make a video as soon as I can. And I'll be having my pickups when I go out of state. I'm going to be picking up some records. So when I get back, I will be showing those. So you have a great night, and we'll talk to you later. Take care, everybody.